menu, and then Patron, and then Patron Management. However, before you do any management of any patrons, like a lot of functions, there's certain fundamentals that need to be set. And in regards to patron management, there is one fundamental, and that's the class grade. You need to set up all your class grades or your year levels. So as an example, you need to set up year 1s, year 2s, year 3s, year 4s, year 7s, year 10s, year 11s, year 12s, your teachers, your itinerant teachers, your library staff, your admin staff. So any which way that you think you might want to control their borrowing, and I'm talking about staff in particular. You might say staff can borrow X number of books, but temporary staff, they can borrow even less. Administrators, they can borrow a bit more, and the library staff, they should be able to do anything. So basically, there's just 4 categories I've given you straight off the back. So you need to set up the classifications. And before we go to patron management, we're going to go down to configuration, and then we're going to go to the authority editor. And when you go into the authority editor, this is where all your year levels will be. Okay, it's alphabetic. So click on that and you go to class grade. So when you click on class grade, there's all my class grades. Okay, so you can see I've got 7s and 8s and 10s and 11s. Now somebody you go, oh, why have I got an 07 and a 7? Good question. The reason that will be is because in the system you've set them up as 7. But when you've done a patron import, they haven't called them 7, they've called them 07, or they've called them 007, or they'll call them SEVEN 7. Okay, so whatever you import, whatever class grade the admin office has given them, it will automatically appear in here. Now, if you need a new class grade and it's not in the list, so it's temp staff, that's who I want. So you just type it in and you click the plus button, okay, and that will create the temp staff. All right, now that's how you can create new class grades, and there's my temp staff. All right, however, every one of these people in here, you need to and must click that pencil for each and every one, because when you click that pencil, it'll give you your year level, in this case 07. They'll say their security code is 7. Just make it a rule of thumb, whether you use security or not, that if whatever the year level is, that the security will be the same. So if it's a 7, it'll be a 7. If it's an 8, it'll be an 8. If it's a 1, it'll be a 1. If it's a prep, it'll be a 0. If it's a 10, it'll be a 10. If it's a 12, it'll be a 12. What about staff? Well, all the staff, including temporary staff, you just make them 50. It's an arbitrary number, but stick with that for the moment. All administrators and library staff, you should give them 999. Okay, so then the next thing you do is the final borrowing date. You probably do this once a year, at the start of the year or the end of the year. The date when you want all the books back in the library, you need to put that in. Then you come to expiry date. Just think about when you're going to expire, add another 40 years on that and make that the expiry date. It's useless for most schools and useless for all class grades except year 12. If this was a year 12 and I knew that he wasn't coming back after the 15th of July, I'll say they expire on the 15th of July. So on the 16th of July, when they come to borrow, they'll get a big warning message at circulation, don't lend it to him because you're not likely to get your stuff back. Okay, so that's the only time it's used for year 12s. Okay, loan limit, how many books can they can borrow? Loan period, and for how long can they borrow it? Okay, renew limit. Renew limit is how many times they can renew their books on the web. Renew period. So if they click the renew button on the web, how many days will it be renewed for? The reserve limit has to be something. So if you're not allowing them to reserve, type in 0. If you say, no, year 7s can reserve 2 books, just make it 2. And what that means is that when they come to reserve on the web, if they try to reserve 3 books, they'll say, I'm sorry, Justin, you've exceeded your reserve limit. You need to go and see the teacher or remove one of your existing reserves and then you can add another one. Multiple copies. For everybody as students, that'll be not turned on. Teachers will turn it on and administrators turn it on. In other words, a teacher and an administrator can take more than 1 copy of the book. Okay? Patron override, that will also never be turned on. But if you turn it on, what it means is that if you've allowed a teacher to borrow for 365 days and the book is only a fortnightly loan or an overnight loan, it will allow them to go over whatever the book limit is. Okay, so if the book limit is 14 days, they can borrow for 365. If the book limit is not for loan, they can borrow it for 360 days. Okay, so that's what that is for. And then all you do is you hit save, and you might not see anything happen, but when you click save, okay, it basically applies all these parameters to the year 7 in basically a second. So all those need to be done before we can now go into Patron and Patron Management. Because if you are looking at a patron over here, and let me go and find a patron. So if I want to find a patron, just click find and find M-I-K-E, Mike. And okay, if there's more than one Mike, it'll come up. So we're going to have a look at Mike Smith. So when you come up with Mike Smith, okay, there's the class grade. So he's in year 11. No, that's wrong. He's in year 7. When you click 7 and when you click save, what the system will do, it'll go to those tables we just created in the authority file, and it will apply all the borrowing parameters to Mike based on what the year 7 is. If I turn and say, no, he's a year 12, and as soon as I hit save, then the year 12 parameters will be applied to Mike. Okay, now let me go and do a new patron. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and add a new patron. So click on new, and the barcode is MIKE1235. That's my barcode. My username, don't worry about it. I'm going to give him a username. His name is Mike Candice. That's his username, his first name and his surname. So first name is Mike, next name is Candice. Email address not important, but mcandis@education.wa.edu.au. Okay, and you need to put him in a class grade. So class grade is year 10. The homeroom, whatever homeroom it is, if your homeroom is not here, you can just type in the homeroom or go to the authority file and put it in there. But it's a 7B homeroom, okay, and by default he just gets a student status. So I'll just go save, and it says password is not set. I'll automatically generate one, go whatever, and it's done. Now what will happen is this patron, Mike Candice, can log into the system using his barcode or his username or his email address. So those are the 3 ways that they can log into the system. Okay, and that's what Mike can now do on the system. All right, but when he logs in, it's going to ask him for a password. My recommendation is click on change password. When you put someone in, go in here and make his password P-A-S-S-W-O-R-D. All in lowercase, make it here P-A-S-S-W-O-R-D, and just go change that password. So it's now applied. Okay, now that you've applied it, what you can do is you can say, all right, I've got it in there, and I'm going to say change password or next login. Yes. What that will do is the first time Mike logs in, you can say, Mike, I've set you up. Just log in with a password or password, all in lowercase. He logs in. But as soon as he does that, because I've said change password or next login, it's just going to say, hi, Mike, you need to give yourself a new password, and ask him for a password, then ask him to confirm it. And of course, they can put whatever they like in the password. And people being people, they forget it. So if you ever forget a password, you go to the staff will do a find, go and find Mike Candice, and they'll go change password, next login, and then they'll change the password to password again. Click save and go, all right, Mike, I've reset it back to password, but you'll have to give yourself a new password. Okay, and that's all there is to adding a patron, except he's not a student, he's a teacher. So let's get rid of him and click outside that box, and we have to give him a new role. Click back in the role, and we say that he is a teacher. Now, if you go and save that as a teacher, he gets all the options that a student gets, except he will also have TV for education. So he will be able to go to TV for Education and find content and request content and add content to the library collection. Okay, that's what you can do. You can say, no, he's not a teacher. He's actually somebody that helps in the library. And they help with cataloging. So he's a cataloger. Okay, what the cataloger does, when they come in here, they click on menu, they won't get all these options. They'll just get the catalog option. And they will be able to go and do cataloging. But he's not a cataloger either. So it's Miss Smith. She is a librarian who retired and has very fondly and kindly offered to come and help you in the library, to just sit on your circulation desk and help out. So you put in the librarian in the system and you will go that there is circulation desk person. And that's what you do. Okay, so we're given a totally different role. But you can say, no, this is not Mike Candice. This is barcode called Monitor 1. And the first name is Monitor, second name is Monitor, username is Monitor, email is nothing, and class grade and homeroom doesn't matter. But the role is self-circulation. What self-circulation does, it will, and you need to give it a password, but it will just give them this circulation screen. In here, go down to circulation, self-circulation. Okay, so it's for students. So they have to have their barcode to borrow, so they can borrow and return. They can't get into anything else. They can't do any damage. So that's how you do a self-circulation desk. You say, yes, but we've got a long desk in the library and we have 6 computers on there and we want them to go to any one of those 6 computers to self-circulate. Well, you can't log them all in as Monitor 1 simply because the system will think it's being hacked because all these people are logging in with the same name and no 2 people should ever log in with the same name because the system will detect that more than 1 people are using the login name and guess what? It's going to kick you out. Okay, so you need to create one patron called Monitor 1, next one Monitor 2, next one Monitor 3, next one Monitor 4, next one Monitor 5. And that's it. And you just create as many monitor users, just make sure they've all got self-circulation. And that's all there is to patron management. But if you turn around and say, yes, but end of year is coming and I want to move all my year 12s out, I want to delete them. My recommendation is don't delete them. Whatever you do, don't delete your year 12s. Okay, and the reason for that is you go down into configuration, you go down into authority file editor, and in the authority file editor, when it fires up, what you want to do is go into class grade, and when it fires up, you go and create a class grade called, because this is now 2020, you create a class grade called left in 2020. That's what you put in there. And you don't do anything else. Don't worry about putting in the parameters. Just left in 2020. And then what you do is you can go and do a global change to move all your year 12s into left in 2020. You must do that. Because when you then go and import all the new patrons for the new year and you do it at the end of the year, or you personally, I recommend you should do it at least once a week because that way you can import their email addresses, their homerooms if they've changed. So just get used to the habit of doing it once a week. And if you do it once a week, it'll take you all of about 5 minutes. You just need to go to the office and say, Joanna or John, can you please email me in Excel format or CSV file all the patrons in the system? And they go, which year level? You go, every one of them. And they go, oh, what about staff? You can say, well, if staff are in that list, give it to me. They go, no, staff are a different list. Well, send me 2 lists. Give me 1 list of all the staff. Give me 1 list of all the patrons. And when you get that, you just have to import them twice. So all you do is you click on menu. You go down to patron and patron management. No, you go to smart patron import because that's where you're going to import it. Now, what you would do is they will give you a list and that list might be 5 pages. You want to highlight the first 3 lines only and do a copy and paste it into another document and save it, and you're now going to import just those 3. Okay, now the reason for that is you want to test it Now, you don't want to go and import 700 patrons and then discover the 700 are wrong and you have to undo it all. But if you import 3 and you know who the 3 are and they're wrong, you just go and fix 3 or even import 2. Don't do 1. Try and do at least 2. Okay, so you go Smart Patron Import and the Patron Importer will load and you can go ahead and watch that tutorial. It's really easy. Okay, however, you tell the system whether it's a CSV file or whether it's a tab delimited file. And if you've got it in Excel, you can save it in either. Now, when you do that, if it's got a header up the top that says name, surname, whatever, you click that and then you just go upload that file. You might want to watch that tutorial because it'll tell you what to do on the other steps there. So it's brilliant. It works really, really well. And if you're not sure, give us a call, send us a ticket. Just go here, go mailbox, and then go ticket. Okay, and go, I want to create a ticket. So support tickets, create a ticket, and go, I'm going to do a Patron import. Can you please back up my system just in case I stuff it up and I have to undo it all? So just put that in there and send us a message. And then when you get a note from us saying it's backed up, it's all done, go ahead and play around with Patron import. And we don't care if you stuff it up because we can undo it. We got a backup. Okay. However, if you don't know how to do it, why not do this? youtube.com.au. And when you go to YouTube, what you want to do is you want to do a search in YouTube of Smart Library. Okay, so in here you just go SmartSuite Library, and what that will do is it'll bring up all the training documents you've got, and we've got one on Patron Import, SmartSuite Patron Import. It will blow you away how simple and easy it is to use. But in here you can find amazing short videos like this one on how to do specific things.